just like that, they buy it. They eat it up. You pander to them, you thank them. I mean, really, people, I thought you were a little bit smarter than that. I mean, it's just so easy to say the name of the city. You cheer.
Hey, Stephanie,
you cheer. I mean, just come on.
Welcome to the A Show.
What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year. Happy 2019. And welcome to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name is Justin, and I'm here with Meelz. What's going on, Meelz?
Yo, I can't believe it's 2019 and we made it.
Yeah, we definitely did. What a crazy time.
I say that every year, but then again, we could have died. Who knows?
I ain't never dying.
You ever heard my favorite line from Problem is, "We gonna live forever, fuck dying." On Wiz Khalifa about me. So yes, that's a motto. We ain't dying, fuck dying. But yeah, I mean, happy New Year to everybody. Happy, I hope everyone enjoyed the holidays. It's gone. We won't have them for a while. I'm very depressed about that. But you know what? We got to get started on the new year, and we got to, new year. The A Show's back. The A Show's in full swing. I mean, we never left, but we're really now we're getting back in full swing as we're heading towards the road to Wrestle Kingdom, the road to WrestleMania, the road to everything. Yeah,
this is a busy month in wrestling. Man, it is like we have Wrestle Kingdom literally like tomorrow night. Then we have Takeover in a week, Takeover UK in a week. And then you fast forward maybe another week and a half, right? Then you have Royal Rumble and Takeover Phoenix at the end of the month. Already crazy. And then let's not even talk about the news that's been happening in wrestling since literally yesterday when the clock hit midnight. It's just been crazy.
Yeah. I forgot all about that.
We've already had, we're gonna get to all of that, but before we even start on No Holds Barred, how was your New Year's? How was your holiday season, Meelz?
Very lax, just a lot of like it. I feel like for a long time, you know what? I needed the social break from everything and everybody. I feel like there's a lot of people I'm around all the time.
Yeah.
And for me, I just needed all right, I need to be reclusive for a while. I need to start to miss people. I need to just be dolo for a bit. And the holidays really brought that for me. And I'm someone who, I think a lot of people enjoy everyone with them and big family and big party and all this other stuff. I'm very cool solo.
I've learned to be cool solo.
Yeah, I think it's something you really get to. It's not really anything some people don't like it, but I think you're not born with it. You kind of learn to appreciate it.
Right. Well, you're a lone wolf for life.
I don't know about that, but I don't know. It's just there's an appreciation for it, and it's not to say to be antisocial, because we do multiple podcasts. I think we're anything but antisocial.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just enjoying your own company. It's
beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and you appreciate it.
It's beautiful. I pretty much the same. It's my first Christmas in a while away from home. Never gonna do that again. Missed my family a lot, but I did FaceTime. I did the group FaceTime thing. Have you tried that yet?
No, I haven't. No.
It works amazingly. I did it for the ball drop. On the East Coast.
Wow.
On the East Coast, obviously, I'm here in the West, so I hit them up at around 8:50. Got everybody on their iPhones, and we all were there together for it. So I didn't actually miss much, but
wow,
it was a pretty cool thing. Shout out to Apple for that group FaceTime thing. It's fucking fire.
Look at that, man. Look at that. We got to get that going.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Meelz, me and you have never actually FaceTimed ever.
I mean, for what?
You've never FaceTime ever, because I want to see how Meelz is. I want to see Meelz like walking the
see how I
streets.
live? No.
I want to see how Meelz walks the streets in New York City.
You want to see how I live? I don't walk the streets in New York City. I humbly take the trains. I take the trains. I am yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, why not? FaceTime me, whatever. We'll see what happens. Maybe a lucky viewer can get to FaceTime me. That'll be a prize in the future or something.
Jesus Christ. I want to see Meelz out here like clean and jerking 600 pounds. That's what they call it, clean and jerk?
Clean and jerk. 600 pounds? No. You're insane. But yeah, you could see me clean and jerking. Yeah, why not?
I'm working. We are amusing ourselves here. I'm working through a root canal today, everyone. So in case I sound a little maybe drooly, it's because my mouth is still numb. But I do it for you guys. And one thing I do want to say, because you guys did something for us. Thank you to Wrestling Twitter for nominating the A Show for the Wrestling Twitter Awards last week. The results came out yesterday. We landed in third place. Shout out to WrestleSplania, who actually the wonderful ladies of WrestleSplania got first place. It's a great show. If you have a chance to go check it out, they got first place. But it says a lot that we started this podcast literally a year ago, and we have been on the conscience of so many people that frequent wrestling Twitter that they thought to vote for us in our first year within third place. And that's just incredibly humbling, especially considering all the work we put in for this. And Meelz, how did you feel when you found that out?
I think I was more humbled by the fact that, and it was held by the Count THG.
THG, shout out THG.
He said that, listen, I don't even listen to podcasts, but everything that I was given, it was recommended. So obviously someone, recommended or more than one person, who knows, recommended our podcast and decided, listen, let's throw them in the running. They have great content over the year, which we pride ourselves on, even if Raw is trash, even if SmackDown is rarely trash. We pride ourselves in at least delivering entertaining content through our podcast. So yeah, thank you for everyone who voted third place. I'm not, it's given us a place to really bounce off of, and really, a good place to start.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Third place, great. I'm shooting for first, and we're gonna make sure that we do everything we can to get that first place spot on not just Wrestling Twitter Awards, but any awards that will have us. And once again, shout out to everyone that voted. It's incredibly awesome that you guys thought so much of us to do that for us this year. And shout out to all the other people that got nominated, like Cyrus, first year. Cyrus gets nominated for best basically content creator, like artist on Wrestling Twitter, and also Jake, one of our good friends, Jake, who started a lot of beef with Voices of Wrestling. Man, he was on their head all year.
Listen, I believe it.
But yeah, shout
out to Jake and Cyrus.
Shout out to Jake and Cyrus. But let's get into No Holds Barred with some kind of like solemn news here. Mean Gene Okerlund passed away this morning. Definitely something that when I woke up and I saw, I was like, holy shit, like this is terrible. And it's literally it's only the second day of the year. But Gene Okerlund, he passed away today. I'm still in kind of like taken aback at the news, honestly, because it just wasn't, you never expect that, especially with someone that's big and someone that's prolific, that's that prolific in wrestling and in everyone's lives. It's like he's just been the voice of, everything wrestling. He's, commentator, interviewer, all of that stuff. And to pass at the age of 76, it's crazy. It's not, crazy that it's like the age, but it's like, damn, you just think he's somebody that you never think is going to go away.
I think he's one of these figures that is just like it's been so embedded in our mind and our imagination, and essentially growing up through professional wrestling. If you've grown up with it, I mean, beyond past maybe decade or so, you at least know who Mean Gene Okerlund is because he was really the voice of the '80s for sure. In the '90s in WCW during the heyday, you know who Mean Gene was. If you followed, professional wrestling just in general, I mean, if you followed Hulk Hogan at the time, just him saying, you know what, Mean Gene is just it's a quotable in itself. It's something that we remember Mean Gene for. And to me, he was one of the most, and I still think he breaks the mold in terms of just interviewers and those type of people who are able to carry charisma, but still manage to get the person over in the interviews and still manage to, have an entertainment segment on the show and still manage to seem like a real life person instead of just, a microphone stand attached to a microphone, which is kind of what we, sometimes we get nowadays because that's kind of how the WWE model is.
Yeah.
But he was someone who added charisma and he added, he wasn't afraid to let, even the wrestlers know what it was. And he was just the interviewer of interviewers. Like he was the guy. He was Mean Gene Okerlund, someone who earned the name, someone who, was part of amazing moments, part of Hulk Hogan's first WWF title run, Ric Flair winning the Royal Rumble, or everything WCW and NWO. I mean, WWF at the time, like he was a part of incredible moments, man.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, he wasn't just a microphone stand that was holding up a microphone. He was literally, I mean, he should be the blueprint for all backstage interviewers. I mean, you look at what they are now, it's not the same, like very devoid of imagination or personality. And that's just the way that it has to be. But it's like Mean Gene really broke that mold and he made it cool to not treat the fans or, the viewers as idiots and basically take everyone to task. Like, even in WCW where he was OD with it, like to a point where he was like calling wrestlers bricks. Like he was like really like a personality. He became like an integral part of the learning or the watching experience because you as the viewer were having the same questions, whether you aligned with heel or face, you were having the same questions that he was asking. And I think that was just so important that he brought that to the culture of wrestling.
I agree. I mean, I think even still to this day, I mean, you heard his voice at the Hall of Fame ceremonies. You heard his voice. He'd occasionally show up at WrestleMania or WWE shows. I think it's crazy to think that he's passed just because he's just like, he's a figure in our mind. To me, it's like Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny or Spider-Man or any of those things. He's like an important figure in professional wrestling and really in the lives and imagination and the youth and the grown up and the adolescence of really all wrestling fans. So yeah, R.I.P. Mean Gene Okerlund. You will never be forgotten.
Yeah, never. I really can't wait to see what WWE pulls for their retrospective.
Oh yeah.
I think they always like absolutely do a great job with these, and I can't wait to see what memories they pull from that. Like the Mean Gene, Macho Man stuff, always classic.
Right.
Always a classic. Another big announcement that happened on the first. I mean, we've been talking about it, speculating about it, and it is here. AEW, All Elite Wrestling, was announced on the strike of midnight on New Year's Day. It is what we thought. Cody and the Young Bucks are down. I believe they are in executive positions in the company. They are pretty much, they're like the executive vice presidents. It's being bankrolled and owned by Tony Khan, who's the co-owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's the major financial backer for the company. They're said, according to sources, that he's fronting $100 million for the launch of AEW. Was this everything you thought, or was this as exciting as you thought it was going to be? Did it make you cry, like some of these people online have been saying?
I think it's very, in regards to the Tony Khan thing, I think it's very bold to invest in professional wrestling in 2018, considering the major giant and the major monopolizer that is WWE. I mean, in America and things like that. So I think it's bold in itself. But in terms of what it is, did I cry? No, I'm more. I'm interested to see where it goes, and I'm interested to see if it's really just going to be the same thing that we've seen on the independents for the last 2 years, just under, their own umbrella. I think it's to me, it's very the fact that can we say that Josh Pease?
Yeah, we can say that.
He came up to us today. He's like, "Hey, have you guys heard of AEW? I'm down." And I'm just
he's just trendy, man. He's just a trendy guy.
It's a double or nothing, and I was like, "All right, man, all right."
He's just a trendy guy, and that is also what they announced. They announced that All In 2 would be called Double or Nothing. I can't speak for Josh. He's an interesting fellow.
The drive around it right now is speculation, isn't it? Because it's really now it's like you have Cody and the Bucks, but who else, right? So all the narrative surrounding it is like speculation, like, who could be joining it? They've said that, WWE superstars aren't quite happy with where they're going. Now they want to jump ship to AEW. And I'm like, that's kind of risky, honestly.
Yeah, for something that's not a sure thing. I have heard that, the contracts for a lot of people that they've been signing up people since like the end of last year. And a lot of people are very interested. A lot of people are going to try that out when their current deals end. A lot of wrestlers are under like Lucha Underground deals, and it takes a while for those things to clear up. We'll know everything. I'm guessing dates and everything next week. On the 8th, on Tuesday the 8th, they're going to have a press conference in Duval, in Florida.
Duval. Oh wow.
Duval. Shout out to Amp. Shout out to Amp Pavelli. They're gonna have a press conference there where I'm guessing they're going to announce a lot of different things. So I think.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I'm interested in your thoughts because I've given my thoughts and I'm not like I'm here. I'm like. I respect, you're building your own wrestling thing, but I'm not exactly excited because I'm used to the whole Cody and the Bucks sort of situation. And it's like, we're doing this again. Let's see how this kind of goes on. But what is your genuine thoughts on it?
On one end, it's competition. I think that makes anything better. I think WWE has been in need of it for at least 3 years, especially when we get those lulls like we did last November. Like, God forbid, having to watch Raw without the threat that, there is something else that you could be watching instead of this. I don't think AEW is going to be like a weekly threat to them right now. Not at all. I just don't think that's going to be the case. But on the other end of it, it's like, when you get down to brass tacks, what is this company going like? Who is their competition? It's not WWE. Their competition, their nearest competition, is New Japan Wrestling and ROH, which I think ROH is definitely there's a threat ROH could literally be destroyed by AEW because a lot of the people that are going to sign there are going to be people that like didn't sign the ROH again. It's all the Bucks and Cody and Adam Page and everyone that ROH put all of their chips behind. In the past 2 or 3 years are gone. I think that's their competition. They want to bury ROH. And if that's the case, like if we're just going to get another ROH with money from another bankroller that might or might not be problematic, I'm not sure. Then I mean, I'm cool, whatever. I'm tired of the Cody type matches, the Bucks matches. They always give a solid match, but I mean, they're pretty much going to give the same matches. Like I'm wondering about the matchups. I'm wondering about the talent that's going to sign there. And the time that we're going to have to watch this. Now you're adding another one. And it's like ROH, New Japan, WWE, whatever else you want to watch, PWG, which is something that I watch also. And I think we said this like off air. It's like, I said, like, I have the same amount of hours in the day that you do, but it's like a lot of that hours has to go into something that people are going to watch, like, or it's like researching old WWE stuff or New Japan stuff. It's like, how is this going to work? And I'm waiting and holding off on a lot of opinions until they do give a press conference, but like you can't sell me snake oil, and they sold that to me on All In, and it ended up being like a 7.5 show. It's impressive. I think it's dope. I think that like if they get some of these people like JR, Jim Ross is supposed to be signing there pretty soon because his WWE contract is coming up. That's interesting. But does Jim Ross still have it, Meelz? Do you think he still has it as a talent relations guy or even as a commentator?
I think honestly, the days of really a major contribution outside of maybe even consulting, is behind Jim Ross. Just because I think of age and just health and all these other things that are just concerning regarding Jim Ross. Not to say that, I mean, if he wants to do it, by all means, seek your happiness and by all means, just go do it, my friend. But, oh yes, the police sirens of the new year.
I told you walking through the streets of New York.
But it's I'm interested in terms of what's the big selling point? What's the attraction?
Jim Ross ain't selling me.
Nah, Jim Ross is not at this point. No, Jim Ross. Don't bring the Josh kid from Tough Enough who's in TNA. I'm not buying it. I don't want to hear Matt Stryker. Honestly, it's kind of like to me, it's exciting. It's exciting because it's new, but there's not much outside of that.
They're talking about Goldberg possibly signing on for maybe like a one-off or something. And it's like, okay, so like you've always wanted to see Goldberg spear Cody. Like, so what? Like, I'm sorry, like,
but I don't think even Goldberg does that because at what point did Goldberg? I think if he really wanted to sign outside of a major player, he would have done it in the 12 years he didn't wrestle professionally.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that doesn't. But then again, I'm not really fighting about Goldberg here. That's besides the point. The point is, it's like what to me, the attraction. There has to be one. There has to be the great. To me, if you're doing this in the United States, there has to be the great next American star, which I think they have to sort of build. There has to be a sort of attraction of its own beyond just, we're doing this, but we're doing it with flips now.
Exactly. That's what it looks like. That's what it's like. It's like
it has to be in a. No, go ahead.
It's like what's their star other than, I mean, obviously they're not going to say it's Kenny right now, but it's looking like Kenny is going to be like their centerpiece, which like whatever, like he is a top 5 wrestler in the world. That's a big get. Is he putting asses in seats all over the world? I think honestly they keep doing these shows, like keep it to Vegas, keep it to Chicago, keep it to MSG.
I think he could, by the way. I think he could. To me, if Kenny Omega, in terms of just that,
it's the only place you can see him. If it's the only place you can see him, hell yeah.
Yes, 100%. To me, it's similar to the AJ Styles factor, where it's just like the biggest star outside of WWE, the biggest homegrown star outside of WWE. That's what I see Kenny Omega as. And to me, if he doesn't sign there, it's kind of really hard to find that next big, great American star. But it's just interesting to me. I think you need that. I think you need you need something, just your own selling point, just beyond the fact that it's, again, WWE with flips. I think you need its own look and its sort of own appeal, which to me, the only company that has really managed to do that is Lucha Underground. But that hasn't saved Lucha Underground from, that hasn't made Lucha Underground any more attractive to a major audience. And I do think it's mainly because it's lucha and not like American professional wrestling. So it's not like people can really, you're really only watching if you're a super wrestling fan who appreciates all types of wrestling. You're not really watching if you're just like a Joe Schmo who needs to see someone get their head kicked off.
Then it's like you got Jericho also attached to AEW, which is like, if you're, I told Josh the same thing. I say, if your big selling points is Jim Ross, Goldberg, and Chris Jericho, then you might as well, you're better off watching Impact or something like that. Like, it took Impact a long time to get the stigma of, oh, these are ex-WWE guys off of their plate. Like, look at their roster now. Pretty much almost all originals there. Right. It took them years to shake that.
And then I think they kind of lost it with, I think, a bunch of backstage and creative decisions that they made that sort of, it became less about the selling the television sport and more about the game of who's in the power backstage and who's writing what and who's doing that, which for all intents and purposes is something that once again could plague AEW, considering who are the executive vice presidents. You have wrestlers who are on the roster, also the executive vice presidents of the actual thing. So it's kind of like you're kind of playing with fire in a sense.
Yeah, it is. It's
I have thoughts.
I don't trust. I'm sorry. If the Bucks are behind the booking and creative, like I don't trust that either. It's like if these are all going to be like being the elite episodes and they're not going to have a leash and there's not going to be anyone back there creatively telling them not to do shit, this is looking like real Kevin Nash-ish.
I was just thinking Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash in a Motor City Machine Guns type of deal.
Yeah.
That's a throwback. That's a throwback.
Throwback nepotism. Yeah. Shout out. Before one more thing before you get off of this, do you think this is a war? Is this a war?
Not yet. I do think it's they've done their part in terms of just, you remember when they showed up and then they showed up at that WWE thing and decided to, show up and cause a thing outside and got Jimmy Jacobs fired and et cetera, et cetera. I think they have it in their mind that, listen, we want to be competition. Even if we go down burning and, in the flame, we at least did it and we did it on our terms. So I think they definitely want to do that. But in terms of just competition now, I mean, WrestleMania is coming up.
Yeah, a lot like you can't. Well, here's this one thing that does bother me is that their wrestling media is so co-opted. It's like,
oh yeah, 100%.
It's so co-opted right now. It's like we talk about a lot of this stuff is going to get sucked up by WrestleMania news. It's possible that they're going to be trying to put this AEW shit next to WrestleMania news, and I think that's but there's no telling when this is going to premiere. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's insanity that how co-opted this shit has been, and I think it's hilarious. I think we really need to start being a little bit more careful of our news sources as far as wrestling, and start parsing through who's the guy that's telling the truth and who the people that aren't. Like, I give a shout out to Fightful and Sean Sapp there. He's been pretty much cut and dry neutral. I give a shout out to Post Wrestling, cut and dry neutral. John Pollock's an amazing journalist. I'm not trusting Dave Meltzer no more. That's done.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Meltzer came out the damn side of the room talking about some turn on the Wrestling Observer Live right now, bro. Turn it on right now, bro. You listen to it.
We got some news on All Elite Wrestling, and I'm just like, you dead ass.
he literally hit the Boosie's daughter. I told y'all. Like Dave, chill, bro. Like, what the fuck? It's crazy, man. Like, this is crazy. But that's AEW. We'll of course we'll keep you guys informed of what they say on their press conference next week, and we'll have more more observations as it comes. One more thing I want to talk about in that world is Wrestle Kingdom 13. Meelz, I know this is always a struggle for you to get through these shows.
I mean, well, no, I watched it for the most part last year. So,
okay, can I run through the card really quick?
Let's run through it. I mean, let's talk about it. It's coming up. It's a big show. I'm not gonna not watch it, but I may just not know what's going on.
Well, here's my thing. There's not much to talk about. Not much to know. I mean, I'll be honest, and I know a lot of people feel the same way. New Japan's been lacking as of yet. Since the G1, we've all been waiting to see what they're going to do here. I do think that this Wrestle Kingdom 13 is going to be like a make or break here, because there are a lot of things that they need to do booking wise to kind of incite a lot more excitement for people that have kind of fallen off. And I think it's their most kind of like, not smart fans, but the most hardcore fans that enjoy the booking, but the booking lately has been like so insane and like nonsensical that it has literally driven a lot of people away. And it's not just Kenny Omega; it's like literally almost everyone at the top and the upper mid. You have matches like you have Kota Ibushi and Will Ospreay. That's going to open the show. On the show. It's for the Never Openweight Championship. Of course, Kota Ibushi was the finalist for the G1. Will Ospreay has kind of fucked around all year after losing the junior title. Kota Ibushi won the Never Openweight Championship last fall. I mean, he's basically had really not much to do. It should be a great match with a lot of flippy shit and a lot of like neck falling on stuff. As far as the opener, that should be pretty cool. I have Will Ospreay winning the title because I just don't know if Kota's going to be around long enough. You also have Suzuki Gun, which is Kanmaru and El Desperado versus Roppongi 3K versus Bushi and Shingo from Los Ingobernables de Japan. That's for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. That should be yet another flippy shit match. I really have Roppongi 3K holding on to the titles there. You also have Tomohiro Ishii versus Zack Sabre Jr. for the British Heavyweight Championship. I think this match is going to be tremendous.
I'm a big fan of Zack Sabre Jr., so I look forward to this match.
Should be a great match. Again, you're noticing that not much story is going into this because there is not much story there. The next match you have the Guerrillas of Destiny, which is Tama Tonga and Tangaloa versus Los Ingobernables de Japan, Sonata and Evil versus the Young Bucks. I mean, Young Bucks ain't winning this. I'll say that much. But this is probably the final write-off for them in New Japan. I don't see them working New Japan if at all with the AEW coming up. I don't think I just don't think they'll have time to do it. So this is probably going to be their send-off there. And this is for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. I do have Sonata and Evil taking these titles and just spinning off into a rivalry with the Guerrillas of Destiny after that. And as we all know, the Guerrillas of Destiny, they broke apart from the Bullet Club, but now they're back in the Bullet Club, I guess. Whatever. The next match is Cody versus Juice Robinson for the IWGP United States Championship. I think this is pretty much set in stone. What's going to happen here with Cody going on to other commitments. He left ROH late last month. Juice Robinson, who was strangely the champion last year, but beat no one. I think he'll get the championship back and he'll be the first 2-time U.S. champion for New Japan. Again, not much story there. They challenged each other a long time ago, and this match is finally happening. Then you have Kushida versus Tajiri Ishimori for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. Kushida, he goes to sleep with that championship. He wakes up with that championship. If you were to look on any given day last year and just put your finger on the calendar, he probably had that championship. He loses it pretty much almost every time at Wrestle Kingdom. I think he's losing it to Ishimori to give a push for Ishimori this year. Ishimori is actually closely connected to the Guerrillas of Destiny and whatever the Bullet Club is now. So I expect that. Then you have Kazuchika Okada versus Jay White for it's just a regular grudge match. If you remember correctly, basically Jay White caused Gedo to turn on Okada, and that was one of my favorite angles of last year. If you remember that angle where where Yoshihashi ran out and ran on it and fucking fell on his fucking face. That angle where it's basically a whole bunch of bullshit happened. Basically, the new Bullet Club is Jay White, and he is the leader of it, and they kind of collapse chaos into it, which is cool. One less faction. I see Jay White winning this match.
This is a big match for Jay White, huh?
Yeah, he's the second year. Last year he had Tanahashi. This year he has Okada. He didn't win against Tanahashi. I think they'll give him the win here, give him the rub. I think there's a lot bigger things happening with Okada, and I think it would be a pretty cool thing for him to actually give Jay White a really good match. I think Jay's been getting better. I'm not gonna lie, since the Bullet Club stuff has happened. Not a big fan of the Bullet Club still existing, but I think that if you have a charismatic leader, or at least he tries to be like Jay White in that position, then it'll be fine. The next match is for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. It is Chris Jericho versus Tetsuya Naito. Jericho has had this title for a long time. For a very long time. He beat Naito for it nearly a year ago. I think it was back in June. This is their rematch. It took a very long time for this rematch to happen. Again, writing's on the wall. We've talked about Jericho and where he could be headed. I think this is the writing on the wall for him in New Japan. Have you felt about his run?
I think
he's had one good match.
I feel like, but that's the type of matches I feel like when you're surrounded in I think really his atmosphere is truly WWE, and that's kind of where he excels and where he shines and where he's able to have those matches that are really, really good. Now, when you put him in New Japan and put all these other things are sort of around him and all these sort of elements and just a completely different wrestling style, and no matter how much he wants you to believe that, Chris Jericho can go up a different level, or he can move sharply to the left with when he really gets back to his Japan roots. It's kind of really not. Like, it's not as, honestly, it's not as spectacular. Most of it's due to age. Most of it's due to the antics and things like that. In terms of Chris Jericho is a trickster. He's someone who's like, oh, it looks like he should drop, so he's likely probably not going to drop the belt. And then he drops it at some random event somewhere in the middle of, or he holds it for another year. Who knows?
That's insane. If he wins this and he beats Naito, there is going to be a lot of people that stop watching New Japan on that day.
So here's what I'll say about this New Japan thing. To me, it looks like, I think from the wave of Wrestle Kingdom 10, every year, I think they're garnering much more momentum, and there's really becoming an alternative. And I think a lot more fans were acquired when they saw that Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles match. And then when they carried it on the next year and they had, I forgot what was the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 11. But it continued to build throughout the years, and I think the Chris Jericho thing was a major coup for them in terms of establishing that American audience, especially at the same time you're, establishing this United States championship, and it just continues to grow. To me, Wrestle Kingdom 13 looks like, it looks like, in terms of all the peaks and stuff that they were, climbing over the last couple of years, it looks like a little bit of a valley. It looks like a dip in terms of just like the momentum that they have, and
yeah,
I'm interested.
It's interesting that you say that that's a dip because it absolutely is, but they usually don't dip on the biggest show that they have all year.
Yeah, but I think more so as an attraction show. To me, in terms of just like the attraction of it, I think last year Chris Jericho brought a great attraction to the show, and then it also had, and then the year before we had that Okada Kenny Omega match, which is like, was it 6 stars, 5 stars, whatever?
6 stars, and then with the 7 and 8. That's why I gotta stop listening to Dave Meltzer.
And then before that, so it seems like they just have momentum, but they usually do deliver. All eyes will be on it nonetheless. I'm interested in see, and I think last year's show did big business for them.
Yeah, and this year's show looks to be a sellout. With Kenny Omega at the top. Kenny Omega and Hiroshi Tanahashi are going at it for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Listen, this match is going to be fucking tremendous. No doubt about it. I'm actually very excited for it. I think, Tanahashi was my runner-up for Wrestler of the Year in the male category last year. Kenny Omega, once again, not his strongest, a strong year, but not his strongest years.
But this is the stage to deliver on, if there's any stage to deliver on.
Absolutely, and this is the guy to deliver against. I don't think there's anyone that can do the most with the least than Tanahashi. And I think, that gives him an amazing base here because he's got Kenny Omega standing right next to him. Right. I think it's going to be a great match. But once again, to me, this is the most interesting match on this card. If Tanahashi wins, it pretty much lets us know that Kenny's on the way out in a lot of different ways, or as far as a full-time competitor for New Japan, I think he's on his way out. If that's the case, as soon as I saw Tanahashi won the G1, I was like, okay, they're probably going to go back to Tanahashi having the title and then put it on someone else, which makes more sense in the long run for them if that's the case. Because from what we're saying, like I've said it 3 times already, this guy's going to be gone, this guy's going to be gone, this guy's going to be gone. But if Kenny Omega wins, that makes it a lot more interesting. Because that would mean that he chose to stay for at least another amount of time, if not another year with New Japan, and let his boys go their own way. Kenny has been the least vocal about the AEW stuff. He's pretty much worried about himself. If Kenny Omega doesn't go to AEW, that makes things very, very interesting as far as the year ahead for him, and in the next year, if his contract is renewed and it's up again for New Japan, because that would mean that Kenny would be trying to see what else in the world he can go get. He can't work that style his whole life. He's getting up there in age. Kenny's already 35. He's kind of past his peak, past the crazy New Japan wrestling stuff. And it looks to me that AEW is going to be going more in that route. If he is thinking about his long-term future, maybe he does this one more year and then maybe he does go to the WWE or he does go to Impact or something. I just had to laugh. I said Impact.
I think, honestly, you know what? I don't want to say he would ever replace Roman Reigns, but to me, there's a huge opportunity there if he does choose to go to the WWE, and people do embrace him in the same way that they embrace AJ Styles,
Right.
or they embraced Finn Balor, even though it hasn't worked out the same for Finn Balor. But there is a huge opportunity for me with the WWE. Now, I also think there's a major opportunity with AEW.
To be the face.
And it's currently, you don't really have to second guess it. You don't have to say like, well, are they gonna do me kind of like what they did with Finn? And then it's just like, or it's just say like, I'm guaranteed the face, I'm guaranteed the breadwinner, I'm guaranteed carry the company. And yes, you take on all the pressures with that AEW thing, but at the same time, it's like you're the man, and you're giving the opportunity to build a company from the ground up, and and really, really push it. But I mean, honestly, I don't think this would be his last opportunity if he never. I think even if he did sign somewhere else or he stayed in New Japan, I still think the WWE door is open for him. But just in terms of the quality of matches he wants to have and the age that he's getting up there,
sooner than later.
Maybe you should think it's sooner than later. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely sooner than later. But that's Wrestle Kingdom 13. Can't wait to recap this show. I was gonna ask Meelz, are you gonna watch the show? But I'm not even gonna. I'm
gonna watch.
Cool. Awesome. So we're gonna talk about Wrestle Kingdom 13 next week on the show. Before we get into the actual Raw SmackDown side, NXT airs tonight. It has a 2-hour episode where they'll be revealing the year-end awards nominees. Yes.
Whoa. All right.
2-hour clip show. Pretty much.
Jesus Christ.
So I would expect the first hour to be pretty much just the Gargano Ciampa match, and then the rest goes after that. We should also be seeing where they're headed next as far as tapings go. I think the tapings are Thursday and Friday this week. So we should be able to talk about what's
Thursday
coming up.
And Friday.
I believe so.
So that means they're taping past the pay-per-view.
I heard it was Thursday and Friday. It could not be. I know they have like an Atlanta trip coming up.
Oh, okay. I mean, it also could be another show that they're taping just within the interim of another show. So who knows? For sure.
Because I mean, they took the Riddle Ono match from the tapings that they didn't air yet, and they're putting that on this show. So it's like, again, it's very weird how they're choosing to show Riddle off. He's like very much a attraction that they don't do this to any other star on this show. He's an attraction.
And I think that's what it is. Essentially, it's an attraction, and it's just like, hey, we have to build a show, blah, blah, blah. Let's put him on this to get people to watch the show. And I think people will watch for Matt Riddle. I mean, he's one of the new hottest things. MSG, he was there last week. I heard a lot of great things about that MSG match at NXT with NXT in it. So, let's see where it goes.
Like a fun match too, definitely. Before we get into the big shows again, Reels, do you have any like wrestling resolutions? Like this year, one of my wrestling resolutions that I want to be nicer to Jinder Mahal.
Why?
I want to be nicer to Jinder.
For what?
Because you know what, I've been really hard on Jinder Mahal, and you know what, like he has fallen into his role as a lower mid card wrestler perfectly. I watched him on Raw over this past week, and I was like, you know what, that's exactly where he needs to be, and he excels at that. And I'm going to be nicer to him.
I could do with or without him, but I understand where you're coming from. Let's see if I have any wrestling resolutions. You know what? It might be watch 205 a little bit more. 205 Live?
Yeah, for
I don't watch 205 Live at all. And NXT UK, man, don't even talk to me about it, because I watched first.
Bruh, me and you are both going to be like catching up on that.
Listen, we said in the chat today, I was like, listen, I'm just going to have to get to know these guys at the takeover. Because I'm not watching. It's an inopportune time to watch the show. I'm at work. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not even at lunch at work. I'm just at work. Like,
even if it was, and even if it's just like, other than the matches that I'm told to watch, like the Rhea Ripley Toni Storm matches, or the Rhea Ripley Dakota Kai, the Pete Dunne Jordan Devlin match, which was incredible a couple of weeks ago. I'm not looking out for anybody else in that roster. There's nothing else that kind of like sticks out to me on the NXT UK roster. But I will give more of a concerted effort to watch the show, as we missed 2 episodes today. But I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make an effort.
2 episodes in one day. Like, what did they?
Because they taped it like a month ago. Like, they got to clear out these episodes before the takeover. But yeah, I definitely do want to watch more NXT UK. I also want to watch more Joshi, more women's wrestling. Japanese women's wrestling. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
They gets down. Okay.
Is there an American independent scene for women? I know there is. I know this is a rhetorical question.
Shimmer.
Gosh, I feel like I should watch more of that. But you really don't have. I mean, what's the way to watch Shimmer? You know.
You could get. I believe they have a streaming service. I believe you can watch them on WWN Live. I'm pretty sure someone's gonna tweet you with a link to how to watch more Shimmer.
I mean, yes, please tweet me how to watch more Shimmer. I would love to, at least find out who's the next crop of women that we should sort of be looking forward to. I feel like I haven't done that in a while. I remember just back in the day watching the ROH stuff and being like, hey, that's a guy we should probably look out for him, when they eventually came to WWE. I remember I used to watch OVW and FCW and all this other things and be like, hey, this is what we got the future for. All right. But I haven't really been doing that over the last number of years. So maybe it's trying to capture what's the future of wrestling. I wouldn't say watch New Japan and I'll see the future of wrestling, because they're established in New Japan. They're just established somewhere else. So it's not like I'm getting the hot scoop on like, oh my, did we watch the Zack Sabre guy? Like, no, but
very rarely find like a new star like in New Japan. That's why I thought it was funny that they were like, oh man, they made Zack Sabre last year. I was like, no, not really. He's pretty much already
yeah, that guy was cooking.
He's pretty much already who he was. I think I also want to be a little bit more nice to people on Twitter about wrestling. No, never mind. No, I don't. There was somebody on Twitter this week who was basically like coming on to Izzy, like basically calling Izzy like beautiful. Like, did you see that?
I saw it. I'm very grossed out.
If you see this tweet, like, report this guy. He's got to go.
Just please report him. Yeah, it's just we can't have that type of energy. Wrestling's already. Josh is already saying like y'all's world and stuff like that. I can't give him any more ammunition.
If you guys have any wrestling resolutions, let us know. Tweet us at RNC Radio Live, at LGJohnny5, at Meelz TV. Let us know what your wrestling resolutions are. We really want to know for the top of the year. But the other thing we have for the top of the year, we're bringing back our Royal Rumble pool, and we're opening it up. We have 30 spots. We're going to open up some spots online as well. So if you're interested in the Royal Rumble pool, let us know. We're gonna have a lot of cool things to do with the Royal Rumble pool. We also have a very special episode that I don't think you don't want to announce that yet, do you?
Let's announce that at the end of the podcast.
All right, cool. We're gonna announce it in the podcast. So stick around to the end. We're gonna announce a special episode that Meelz. He hit me with this idea this morning, and I was like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. But let's get into Raw and SmackDown. Raw is changing, Meelz. It's becoming a more watchable show.
I wouldn't say all that, but
and the past 2 weeks of Raw, it might have been because they taped it.
It's because it was taped.
I thought it was a good show. I thought the Christmas.
You knew what not to watch, and you knew what to watch, and you're like, oh, that's interesting.
I thought the Christmas episode was really dope. I thought that was really dope. They had a really cool Elias match with Bobby Lashley. Really dope.
Wasn't getting me to watch that. But you know what? I'll say Raw had its moments this week. I mean, I think we're getting, in terms of next week, we're finally getting Braun Strowman back, which I think is a plus for Raw. Even, as much as the Braun Strowman face thing is just kind of, I think it's a plus just for star power on Raw that they need, because it's really been the Baron Corbin show for mad weeks.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar will also be on Raw next week, which is something that in 2017 or 2018 rather, I thought we were done with Brock Lesnar, period. The man's back, and he's still doing shows, and he's still getting paid, and he's still on payroll, and all this other stuff. So
he's still not going back to UFC. So he's like that crackhead uncle that just won't leave your grandma's house.
He just won't. It's literally he's embarking on another 200+ day reign right now. Like he's Jesus Christ. But what I really, really liked is the sense of authority on Monday Night Raw. And, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H McMahon, all the McMahons.
Triple H McMahon.
All the McMahons showing up on Raw really kind of makes you think, okay, this is the penultimate authority figure. And it's just not like someone who's going to be emasculated by whoever shows up and tells them they're doing a bad job. So it's kind of like, it's working out. And I think one of the strongest points of Raw was the Seth Rollins promo.
Oh, I really liked it. I know I saw a couple people online say they really hate Seth Rollins' face promos. I thought that it was a really good promo that kind of showed the fire that he's been missing for the past couple of months with these promos. Like I never thought I'd say this, but like get him the fuck out of the Dean Ambrose program. Like get him out. And they literally did it this week. They said, again, they brought back the idea that they brought up on SmackDown where they said there are no more automatic rematches. And I thought that was amazing. I think that I love that they're sticking with that and they're moving Seth into something else. Definitely dig that. And I like the Triple H angle where he kind of brought up their past, but didn't kind of bring the feud back. He basically said, you beat me, you whipped my ass. And I thought that was a really cool way to put Seth over. They're very strongly hinting that Seth is going to go after Brock at WrestleMania.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, not giving him the Intercontinental title match, having him have the matches of Bobby Lashley and all these other things, to me, it looks like we're heading in that direction of just like, okay, are we really heating Seth Rollins up? It's like, it's the time to burn it down. And to me, it's a great spot to be, especially heading towards a Royal Rumble, because Seth Rollins, Royal Rumble, what a better place to burn it down.
I don't think, you think he's going to win?
I really don't see anybody else. I don't have any predictions in terms of who else would win right now. I think Seth Rollins is a great pick to win.
I got Nakamura. I got Nakamura doing a.
I feel like you don't need SmackDown winning this year just because
they never win anything.
This is true, but I also think it's like. You don't need a Royal Rumble winner to face Seth Rollins to overcome to face Daniel Bryan. You don't need someone to overcome the odds to face Daniel Bryan. You can have him in the Elimination Chamber and go through hell, and then you have to see Daniel Bryan there, who's going to make your life a little bit more hell. But in terms of just like that story of just like going up, accomplishing this feat, and then having to face off against the final boss, I think that's Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. And to me, you even put Braun Strowman in that Royal Rumble. To me, well, no, he's in the match.
Yeah, he's in
that Brock. Okay, all right. Well, I guess you don't put him there. But to me, Seth Rollins is the way to go.
It'd be a big win. He's been in the company for a very long time. I think that. Most Royal Rumble winners they go into greatness. A lot of them.
He's already been great, but
he's never done that. He's never done that though.
Yeah, 100%.
Nakamura's done it, and it won. It is what it is. So that was probably one of the strongest parts of Raw. But another thing that was interesting about Raw was Apollo Crews and his newfound push. How'd you feel about that?
What's their angle? What are they doing? What's their? I don't trust it. I don't like it when they push great, black, talented, athletic superstars, and then they push him to this, and they're like, you know what, he's not ready, and then they decide to take it away from us. I'm scarred. I'm scarred from it. So I don't really know. I love the opportunity for Apollo. I thought it was great. He didn't win.
They made him look like Kane. They made him look, but the thing is though.
Oh yeah, 8 eliminations. What was that about?
Well, you had to make him look like and I always say this, like WWE can heat up a guy or a woman in seconds. And that's what they were trying to do with the ball.
Largely inept for the most of the year.
Oh my God.
Like the man was barely he could barely walk out and win a match. Like
okay, fair. That's fair because I try to have a parallel. When you parallel next to Asuka.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, well, you know what? Whatever. You know what? I'm not gonna pick and it's like Alexis Luthwood said. You know what? I can't pick and choose. This is what we got.
Yeah, that's what we have.
This is what we got.
I think that, I mean, again, it's strong. It's never a bad thing to push new guys, because if it gives him more of a chance at the top or a chance on TV every week. I mean, he's been on TV for like the past 5 weeks in a row. You can't say that about the rest of his year. You know, like they're really trying with him, and he's a black guy doing it. And I think there needs to be that type of representation. And I think people shouldn't second guess that at all, the way that they're pushing him right now. And they're not pushing him as anything, but like,
I'm a 1.5 guess it.
I'm not going to second guess it. I wouldn't second guess it. I think he's going to have a storyline this year.
All right.
They have
I'm
3
sure that's
hours.
his resolution. I mean, I'm sure that's his resolution. I mean, they have 3 hours, yes, but as long as it's not like Mojo Rawley or something.
Oh no, I don't think this is a rolling. I don't think this is a Mojo Rawley thing. They threw some shots at him, boy.
Yeah.
They threw some fucking shots at him, dog. Like, oh boy, Seth Rollins lit his ass up. One more thing on Raw. Ronda Rousey, or more specifically, like the Riot Squad, like, it just feels like the women are moving in molasses on this show.
Maybe they need a little Lacey Evans. I don't know, but that was a joke.
No, we don't need none of that tea she was cooking or making.
The women. I mean, a lot of people saying, you know, to me, the women are in a definitely stale position on Monday Night Raw, and it's
they main event the show. I will say that they main event the show,
but this is a main event that we've seen before, and the exact same result that we've seen before. And
the Riot Squad are dorks.
Riot Squad also dorks, yeah. I mean, and again, this is a match that we've seen before. And there's an interesting statistic of like Sasha Banks has faced the Riot Squad in some form or fashion for 17 times on Monday Night Raw in 2018. And considering Riot Squad wasn't even on Raw all of 2018, like, it's just crazy. It's crazy to think about it. Like, it's really, women need a shake up. Women on Raw need a shake up.
It's coming. I think it should be. I really do think it should be Nikki Cross, but you seem to think
they need more. I think they need more. I think they
need to push. They need to get Sasha and Bayley. Like, give them.
But then you look at the auxiliary players, and you have, like, no offense, the Alicia Foxes and the Dana Brooks and the Mickey James, who have all amounted to nothing over the last 2018.
Well,
It's not that they're not talented, but it's the fact that they haven't even been close to touching anything with success attached to it.
Mickey as a auxiliary player is fine where she's at.
I like Mickey as a face, to be honest with you.
Right.
I think she's way better as a face than she is as a heel. I mean, she's taken the pinfall as a heel every time, but I think as a face, I even think with her feud with Alexa Bliss maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, that she showed some promise that, man, maybe she should win. And I think there's a story with her as a face, but as a heel, she's just to me, she's useless.
Dead, done.
Right.
There's nothing there. I don't know.
Alicia Fox, they'll just turn her on anytime they want and then turn her off. I mean, she's a hand. She's someone who's been around for a long time. Dana Brooke, just Dana Brooke, man. And Alexa Bliss doesn't look to be, cleared, or look like she's gonna be cleared anytime soon. She's starting a new talk show next week on Raw.
Yeah, it's just weird. I really do think we might know something concrete.
I don't think she's answered either. So even if she was back, I don't think she's answered.
Yeah, well, if she gets physical next week, then we'll know. But I mean, she should. I mean, realistically, put herself in the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah.
Oh, she's the final. She's in the final four. Like, that'll be crazy because everyone would be like, she's gonna win. If she's in the final four, what if the final four? Wait a minute, is Sasha Bayley in it? Sasha Bayley.
That's right. That was in my brain. The final four is the 4 horsewomen, but then you kind of have to trust Bayley to reach the end. And
oh my god!
To be honest with you, I don't see her making it more than halfway if she's number one.
Oh,
because they don't like Bayley. They just don't. They don't. And
people need to stop lying. Shout out to Chris Novak, but
I mean, to be honest with you, they don't like Bayley. I think Bayley knows they don't like Bayley. She had a tweet or the Instagram thing about like 2018 was like a tough year, but trying to build through it and stuff like that. I really don't think they like Bayley. That's just the way I think.
We'll see if she wins the tag titles this year, if that's the case. But that was Raw. I think that was there. Oh, you didn't watch the cage match, did you? You didn't catch it?
No.
Really good cage match between Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. I really do think that Drew is like my shoe-in for Money in the Bank this summer. I think he's gonna get a run with the title this summer, and I don't think there's anyone like I don't think there's anyone like more deserving than him. I think he's been a great heel in his position, and I think that if the show was centered around him, I think it would be a pretty interesting show, and I think you get some really great matches out of it as well. I didn't really hate his NXT title run. If he just wasn't, he was just a face, like he shouldn't have been a face with it. He's a bad face. He's a very bad baby face.
Yeah, because he's huge.
Yeah, he shouldn't. I just don't believe it.
Yeah,
it's like having
no story of like coming back from anything. Like you're huge. You're like 6'7". You're like 260 pounds. Like
you move like you're like 150. He moves like Finn Balor, which is amazing to me.
Yeah, just kill somebody, man. Come on.
Moving on to SmackDown. Great, excellent show.
Entertaining.
A great past month of SmackDown. If
just a great pace, great storyline. Yeah. Even the things that weren't in storyline were still fun. New Day opening up with that, that Steiner math line. I popped huge.
Shout out to Cass.
Shout out to Kaz, man. And even, you know what? Even that Samoa Joe Jeff Hardy match. I think it was the fact that Samoa Joe won. It was just so new and fresh.
no bullshit.
Fresh ideas. Yeah, just new fresh ideas thrown at the wall. Samoa Joe winning. I think that was entertaining, but man, we have to talk about John Cena.
John Cena.
Face to face with the man.
John Cena met the man on SmackDown. Really good promo from him. Again, this is someone that I don't think he'll ever lose that.
Bad hair. Just
terrible
bad.
hair. Terrible hair.
Everyone who doesn't even watch wrestling, it was just hitting me up like, what's up with John Cena's hair? I was like, I don't know. He's like a TV dad now. Like,
and then the bald spot. It's like, is there white man Beijing? Like all of the listeners of the white denomination. Is there a white man Beijing? Like, can you guys cover that up, or is it like what's it called? Just for men? Is that what you have to use?
I don't know.
It's
the white congregation.
Ben Coyle, hit me up. I need to know if the ball spot will go away. They had a really good promo segment where Becky basically said, this is my spot now. I'm trying to replace you. Really, really cool promo that led out to Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega coming out for a tag team match. Really good match, man. I think Cena and Almas have really good chemistry, dude.
Listen, I've been pitching this Almas Cena thing forever. I feel like I have, at least. Even when I was like almost coming up, I was like, his first opponent should be Cena if they really give two shits about him. But Sin Cara works. Sin Cara is still great. I love the interaction between Becky Lynch and Cena. I've said in the past, we don't see enough interaction between the men and the women on the show. And just to, give that, continue to, with the rub for Becky Lynch and just have her in the ring with John Cena, right. To me, it's incredible. And then even, Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega having that match. And I'm just, we're seeing a lot more Zelina Vega in the ring than we ever saw in NXT, period. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, she's delivering. I think both are delivering. And I think everyone, I made that comment on Twitter and a lot of people came in my mentions. It was like, yeah, but she doesn't seem to be getting the opportunities, or nor does Almas. And I'm like, yo, just wait. To me, it's a waiting game, because to me, they've already showed their stock and they show that it can be booming at any time. And to me, it's a sort of a waiting game. I'm not really worried about Almas or Vega at this point.
I don't think you should say anything's a waste when all of your opponents are the main eventers.
Yeah.
Every single one of your opponents are the main eventers. He's faced AJ, he's faced Brian. When there hasn't been room for him to face these big guys because they're in other spots, he's kind of late. He's kind of played the back, but then he's come back. I think putting them in there with Cena as a measuring stick is great. I felt like he fucking handled his business there. I really liked what I saw when they had those interactions together, and also with Zelina. I mean, I don't want to overshadow her with that, but I thought she was really great here too. You can tell she's really and we don't see her a lot. So when you see her do like some of the really cool stuff like she did in this match, or the stuff with like Lana, like you don't see her a lot. So it's like, yo, she can do that. You know, it's like, it's good to keep that kind of in your back pocket. You don't want to see Zelina, you know, wrestle all the time because you want it to be a surprise. Like, remember when she Hurricane Rana Johnny Gargano?
Right.
You were like, oh, like it popped everyone because it was like, you never see her do anything like that. You never see her get physical. So I really like that she got in there and her and Becky went at it. Like, gave Becky a very good and physical interaction there in the match. But the match ends with Becky throwing Cena out the ring, giving Zelina Vega to disarm her for the win. Becky goes out and she basically gives Cena, she plays him, gives him the you can't see me. Did you notice Cena after she played him and walked away, he said, we'll see what happens? Did you see that? When I saw that, I was like, this motherfucker, man. He always has to get one in. He always has to get one in.
You know, I'm selfish because I love John Cena on SmackDown. To me, it works with the atmosphere, with the players, with everything. I mean, you look at John Cena was on SmackDown this week, and then you look at the main event and the 5 competitors that we have, and it's a stacked roster.
Yeah,
and John Cena brings the attraction. He brings the star power to SmackDown, and it's a game changer because it changes the atmosphere. But I know desperately that Raw needs John Cena.
Yeah,
like Raw needs it badly.
I think Raw will get John Cena. Well, here's the thing. Do you think John Cena is going to be in the Rumble?
Yeah,
I think he announces that next week. I'll pencil that in. I think he announces he'll be in the Rumble next week.
Yeah, I think he'll be in the Rumble. Why not? I mean, we had so much great content on this show. I'm a fan of the Miz and Shane segment. It's just small.
Wherever that's going. Do you think that's leading to Shane and Miz at Mania?
Let's get them the tag team titles at the Rumble.
Whoa!
Let's get them there. Who's
new opportunity? No, you don't want them to have that.
What?
You don't want them to.
Yes,
you don't want them to have that. You don't want them to have
bar easily.
You're wilding right now.
They're scooping the bar easily. It's the bar. Come on.
You're wilding. I think they're probably going to give those titles to people that are going to be there.
Think so?
Yes, they're good.
Miz and Shane get it.
You're wilding. Move on.
And then they put over another team. Come on.
One of my resolutions is not to argue with you about things like this anymore.
Okay, whatever. I'm saying Miz and Shane. If you're down with Miz and Shane having the tag team titles, I mean, show up in my mentions. Give me a hell yeah.
Give me a hell. I knew you were gonna say that. How about Naomi and Mandy Rose taking it back to the Attitude Era?
Listen, let's talk about it.
I love that. I love this. I love the storyline.
First of all, here's the good thing that's going about this feud. This is long-term planning. This has been going on for a long time.
2 months. 2 fucking months.
Survivor Series, it was hinted. I think it was a little bit Twitter back and forth before Survivor Series. That a match that never happened. It got canceled because of something. I don't know. Paige said something.
Where is Paige, man?
She just chilling. She's selling lip kits and all this other stuff.
All right.
And then just a viral. I mean, oh my God, this is great. I mean, the only thing I would see that would mess up this feud if people get racial overtones a little bit, into it. Because there is,
Is there racial overtones to this?
I mean, listen, you got the hot, voluptuous white woman, blonde hair, trying to steal, trying to end black love. I told you type of deal.
There's nothing racial about this.
Have you ever watched Obsessed, the movie with Beyonce and Idris Elba?
Yes, but they're not trying to. I think people that have a problem with this are trying to find something that I don't necessarily.
I'm not advocating for those type of problems. This is just a great feud. To me, this is one of the few opportunities. I think Naomi has been such a star over the last 2 years. And this is one of the rare opportunities she's having really to put over new stars. Mm-hmm. And I think a program like this, which is just so charged, it's like sexually charged, and it's a little bit like
you said sexually with like a
and and just emotionally charged. I think it's going to put Mandy Rose in a different space.
Already. I really love for one, let's be clear about the match she was supposed to have with Mandy, but she had with Sonya. Not officially announced why that switched. Not at all. I have no clue what was going on there. They didn't even
the rule man era, baby. Come on.
Even the announcers seemed confused about why that happened. Sonya Deville, she needs a new finisher. That shit is stinky. I don't even think that's her finisher.
That's stinky. That's a good word to put it. That was stinky.
I don't even think that's her finisher in WWE 2K19.
It's probably like an ankle lock or kick or something.
I don't even know what it is. I'll probably have to ask Cyrus because he's the only person on earth that plays as her. Listen, I really liked the bait and switch though, even though it wasn't explained, but I also like the mind games. It reminds me of like old Goldust stuff. And that's where when I see her like come out, like her interest reminds me of Goldust. Like I love the mind game stuff. I really like and you mentioned
she walks stupidly. Mandy Rose.
She's a robot. That's why she is.
Sexily. She's
Android 69.
All right.
That's an attitude error. Let's see. Oh yeah, you mentioned earlier like men interacting with the women, and I mean this is another example of how SmackDown does that way better than Raw does, where it's like, again, you have men interacting with the women, you have the Usos, even though they're not in a program, they're still in a program, and I really enjoy that a lot. I think that the payoff should be cool. I can't wait for the match at this point. I think the match is going to be great with all of they're giving the match heat, and you don't really see that enough on mid-card or upper mid-card feuds, and I really enjoy that.
Secondary women feuds, like this is technically the secondary feud, the feud that's not, it's not for the belt, but it's still got a good amount of attraction to it. Yeah.
It's for respect, man. It's for fucking respect. But speaking of women's storylines, what the fuck was that women's championship segment that was never answered? Like the taping of this SmackDown was very weird because it felt like there were threads or strands that were never finished, but they were just kind of left there without any announcement of what was going to happen next week. So Triple H basically comes into a room where Asuka, Charlotte, Carmella, Becky are asking, who Asuka thinks she should face. Asuka says, "I'll face any of these motherfuckers. I'm the boss bitch." And Triple H says, "Okay, I'll take that into consideration," and leaves. Who do you think is going to be? Because obviously we want to see Becky, Ronda close out the show in New York, but you still got Charlotte there. That's a hanging thread. You still got Carmella, who, I guess Asuka has to get her win back, which I get, but I don't think that like now with Carmella and
30 in the Royal Rumble, she's been guaranteed number 30 in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you could blow that on a episode of SmackDown, and just have Asuka get her win back because Asuka never got her win back, and I get why they're doing that. You do want to give her win back, but like it should be. If you're being fair, it should be Asuka Becky. If you're being fair, but yeah. But I feel as though like that match is going to be like a 15-minute match, and I think that's going to disqualify Becky from being in the Rumble. Like how are they going to play this? Is my interest right now.
I don't know. I really don't.
It's just really odd how they've
just announce the match. If it's Becky, I'm going to be disappointed, but whatever. Just announce the match.
I think they're going to do something really outside the box with how they promote this. I just hope that they're careful about how they do this because like either way, either match the fans want. I think Asuka versus any of those women except probably Carmella is probably something that a lot of people want to see. But I also feel as though like you really do want to give Asuka a big win at Rumble to solidify her championship reign, and her beating one of those women is the way to do it. And I would have her,
but she loses.
Who, Asuka?
Yeah.
No. Because then it stretches out a storyline that it doesn't need. Like at this point, Asuka needs to be starting to beat the heels that she was facing the whole year last year. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was just a confusing segment. I hope I'm pretty sure it's SmackDown. They'll figure it out. But it's just interesting because it's like, do you want to give away Asuka Charlotte at the Rumble? But it's like, do you do the 3-way again? super interesting. I don't know.
I'm done on this.
Yeah, I don't know where they'll go with that. But the main event of SmackDown was a 5-way match between AJ Styles, Mustafa Ali, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, and Randy Orton for the number one contendership of the WWE champion. Incredible match. I went 4 stars on it.
Fun. Yeah, it was a fun match. It was incredible. It had great moments, had great spots, had great, everything.
Great energy.
Yeah.
I thought that Ali and Mysterio, I want to see them go 10 minutes on some WCW opening match Nitro shit.
I kind of want Mysterio to win. We haven't seen Rey Mysterio versus Daniel Bryan ever.
I think we'll get that. I'll pencil that in for Mania, honestly. I don't see Daniel Bryan losing that championship for a very long time. I'll say that much. Because you know why? Because Brock Lesnar's not on that show. So like there's nobody there to me right now that could take that from him.
You're right.
Yeah, like I really do think Daniel Bryan's gonna have it for a while, and I think Ray is probably the perfect foil for him leading into Mania. But Styles and AJ, we said this so many times. AJ Styles feuds.
Styles and Bryan.
Yeah, it's gonna be Styles and Bryan. AJ Styles feuds, they always go for 3 months, maybe too long, with 4 matches. This is their 3rd match, I believe. So it's gonna happen there. I mean, I don't know. It's their 4th match?
Yeah. They faced once on
SmackDown.
Faced on SmackDown when he lost the belt. They faced at
they faced on SmackDown when AJ beat him.
They faced
TLC.
Super Showdown or Crown Jewel. No, it wasn't Crown Jewel.
No, the Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel one was where Daniel Bryan lost.
Right. And then they faced when Daniel Bryan won, and then they faced at the pay-per-view. So this is the fourth.
Yo, we're right. AJ Styles feuds always have 4 matches.
Yeah, there we are.
So this is the 4th and final. Yeah, it's the 4th and final installment of the AJ Styles Daniel Bryan feud. He's a guy that gets a lot of fucking opportunities. But I mean, I can't complain about that match. They have not sucked. None of them have. So this is going to be, I think AJ and Bryan have the same chemistry that AJ and Cena do. And I think AJ always turns it up at big shows like the Rumble. If you remember the Cena AJ match at Royal Rumble from 2 years ago, really incredible match. Yeah, it's going to be just as great there. AJ's just a big time performer. I think it's going to be great. I know a lot of people were like, they wanted to see Mustafa Ali. It is too early for this man to be having this match at such a big stage. I think it'll do more damage for Ali. Yeah. He has this much given so early. Have kind of peel back a little bit from that and have him face somebody like a Samoa Joe or Randy Orton. I think that would be a great feud for him. But I mean, I don't think he didn't take the pinfall, so I don't think he's I don't think they're giving up on him. I think he's going to be fine where he's at. He looked like he belonged, and I think that's one thing I said when I was watching. I was like, he looks like he really belongs out there, and that's a great testament to the 205 Live brand, where it's like this looks like this could be a brand that could potentially be creating new stars out of their upper card main eventers. So, yeah. And that was SmackDown and Raw for the week. Meelz, you want to announce the show that we're planning on doing for the end of the month? So this week, I think, not this week, actually, rather, sometime this month, and we'll announce it formally on the Twitter. So make sure you just follow RNC Radio Live. This week, why do I keep saying this week? This month, we will be talking about a very big bonus show, CM Punk, and the 5-year anniversary of that night in Cleveland, and everything that followed from it, what we know from it, what we know about it, what we know that happened after, what the UFC losses, the podcasts, the trials, the tribulations, the blocking of me on Twitter. Oh boy. and everything in between. I think, quite honestly, it's been 5 years since one of the most major, to me, one of the most era-defining events, CM Punk leaving the WWE, and we're gonna talk about it this month. So make sure you stay tuned to RNC Radio Live, and make sure you stay subscribed to everything that we got going on. Yes, sir. And again, it's 2019. RNC Radio is turning up again. Of course, we're going to have new shows that are going to be premiering very, very soon that we're going to announce. We're going to have bigger expansions to the shows that we have. We're going to just be doing a whole lot of stuff that's super, super dope this year. So thank you to everybody that has stayed subscribed to us on iTunes, on Spotify, on SoundCloud, on everything. We're everywhere. Google Play. We're everywhere. Stitcher. So thanks to everybody that's been listening, and we're going to hit you guys with more heat in 2019. But until next time, thank you guys for listening. We'll be back with our Wrestle Kingdom 13 review and more things from the world of wrestling and WWE and ROH and now AEW on the A Show. So until next time, peace.
Happy Rusev Day.